I think you'll find it's a recurring theme in this podcast that I talk about love a lot. Um, it is the beginning and the end. It's what we all yearn for. It drives us. I think it is the best thing on the planet. And I think if you get to have love, you are so, so lucky. Like the most luckiest person you could ever think of in your life. And that's maybe because I've lost love and I just haven't been with it for so long. And, you know, I just treasure that. I treasure those moments, those memories and how much it filled my cup up. And the last 5 years, it's been really, I guess, difficult being a person navigating life without love. Even though there's love from beyond and, you know, I have to look at it through that lens that my husband is somewhere else, but it has been, I'm not good out of love. I'm happy to admit that. I don't enjoy it. It's not for me. It's like I've been listening to lots of people and they talk about casual relationships and how much fun it is and dating and all that sort of stuff. And I can't think of anything worse, to be honest. I just don't think, it's just not for me. You know, I'm a wife, I'm a girlfriend, that is what I am. And all the rest of it just gives me anxiety. I just can't even fathom giving myself to someone where it's not reciprocated. Yeah. So that's just me getting old and seeing life through that lens. In my recent job, the job that I've been doing for the last couple of months, I've been working with the elderly. It's really put a new sort of perspective on me. Well, I don't know if it's new, more so as it's just resurfaced a lot of things that I already knew that were there, but I just didn't really pay much attention to. Like, you know, just living a true full life. Don't live in fear. Realizing that we don't have an infinite amount of time. That our time here is very precious and we don't get another chance. Really nurturing relationships and friendships that you have. And that's a crazy one to me because I know a lot of the people that I work with, they are completely on their own and they don't have family. Either they live away or they just don't have anyone anymore. And it's just devastating. I know I've observed a lot of people in my life that don't put an emphasis on friendships and nurturing relationships. And I do think that will be a detriment to yourself when you get older. We all yearn for closeness and a community and a tribe to be around. And it makes me sad that when you get there, you get to that point in your life where you're on your own and maybe you're not as mobile as you once were. Making friends isn't as easy. Lord knows that even now at 30, I meet people that struggle to make friends and it's difficult, you know, putting yourself out there. You might be perceived as strange or weird or whatever it is. You get in the paradigms of your own mind and you just can't get out of it once you get to a certain age. Well, it's hard to anyway, really sort of break down those barriers and those walls that you've created in your own mind. Lord knows I've struggled, but it's just, so I can only imagine what it's like being an older person and not having anyone. It really breaks my heart a lot of the time. It's the added layer of, you know, financial things that they have to worry about if they, you know, didn't earn the most. It's kind of seemed like a forgotten people, I would say, or not talked about as much. Maybe that's just because it's life and that's what happens, but, you know, there is so much support needed there in that industry. It's really, you just don't know until you're there, I think, or you have someone around you. I don't have grandparents, so I don't really know. It's not in my immediate world. I worked in a residential hotel in England and I guess that was a massive eye-opener for me. I was 18 at the time and it was just incredible. I absolutely loved it. but you do have to have a lot of patience and compassion and understanding for these people that, you know, they've lived a whole life. They've had family, a lot of them, some of them haven't, by choice or just didn't, you know, but they've had just lived a whole life. They've worked and had friendships and heartbreak and grief and so much grief. It's incredible. And there's so much to learn from these people. It sometimes is like, I've met so many people that have not worked through whatever they've gone through in their life. And at the age of, I don't know, 80, let's say, 70, 80, 90, they're still holding on to those things that happened as children, in their teens, through husbands doing, or wives doing awful things, you know, just like these massive things that happen in their lives. It has really, it's hard to let go of. And it really frames their world and how they see everything. And I understand. I do. I understand what it's like to go through massive things and maybe not have a community of people to talk to about it with and have understanding and have processes and tools. Lord knows how many years ago psychology was not as far as advanced. I met a man who was a veteran and he told me they didn't have what they call now PTSD. They didn't know what to call it. They didn't have, you know, tools for that. And he still lives with the effects of being overseas and being in war. And it was so visible. I mean, the jumpiness, just, I can't even imagine. And he was completely alone, you know? No one. So imagine living with that. It's just, puts a whole many number of things into perspective for me. And it's kind of switched my brain in a sense of where I just want to live as true as possible. And that sounds a bit like, I want to live as true as possible and just be free. I do actually want to be free from everything. But just in the sense of, like, I don't want to have any fears or reservations about what I want to do in life. I don't want to overthink that too much. And I've spoken about that a lot. And I've kind of just gotten to a point where I'm like, you know, just do you. Because you're going to be in the dirt one day and you don't know when your time's up. You have no idea when your time's up. Could be fucking tomorrow for all I know. Excuse my French. It's just, why not? Is the common theme that I keep on saying in every episode. Why not do the thing that you want to do? Why do I not do the things that I want to do? And I read somewhere, or I heard someone say, just a short line, fear dressed up as virtue. And I think for myself, maybe I was claiming virtue to certain things and industries that I didn't want to pursue because I thought I was, you know, doing it out of like the kindness or some sort of virtuous thing in my heart. But actually, it's just fear. It's a fear-based thing. Like if I wanted to start my own business in clothing, let's say, that's one thing I thought about when I was younger, starting a clothing brand. But then I was like, oh no, all of the pollution, all of the this, all of the that. And I'm just making up excuses as to why I couldn't have that. And why can I not have that? I can be aware of those things and be conscious of it. But I think growing wealth for myself, like, I don't see why I couldn't have that. And I've always been very sort of, when it comes to money, a sort of, you don't need too much, you know, because it's greedy. But I'm not greedy. And I know lots of people that aren't greedy. A lot of people associate money with being negative. And I don't think that's good. I don't want to associate money with being negative because it feeds me, it clothes me, it looks after my family, etc., etc. Like so many positives. So I think the framework around things really shape your mind and how you see life. And I don't want to live in that sort of mindset because I'm literally only here for a blip in time. I've always had a sort of imaginative, exceptional imagination, and I've always believed I can have anything that I want. But there's always been like a barrier to entry. And I'm slowly realizing it's just all of these things that I've made up, and I really can do anything. And so can you. So can so many people. I don't know. There's so many little things that we're unaware of our own selves. And that's something I was talking to my sister about, self-awareness, and how a lot of us lack that and don't have it. It's so hard and difficult to want to reflect inward. It's not nice. It's uncomfortable. You have to unearth all of those little bits about yourself that your bad habits, who you've done wrong or whatever it is in life. It's just, it's not fun, but it's necessary. I think it's completely necessary, because else you'll just stay in a little box all of your life and you'll believe this little cycle of whatever it is. I'm not good enough, and it will just rule you forever. And I don't want to be ruled by anyone. I really don't, let alone myself. I don't like running myself. And this is why I talk about animals and birds and shit. Because when I look at them, they're literally just free. They're living their life. It is as simple as that. It doesn't have to be much more complicated. They wake up, they sing, they go forage for food, they bath themselves. They just do the simplest of things, and they are just existing. And that is enough. We get so caught up in our minds and all of everything else that's happening in the world. We forget that it's okay to just exist. And that's where I've had to come to first to realize everything else. Be okay with being. And that, oh my gosh, it's just so complex. Thinking about my own existence and the meaning of life and how we all got here and all of those massive questions, I've just had to be okay with the fact that, we just are. I don't know all of the answers, but I do know that I want to give it a red hot crack, and I want to live for my husband, my late husband. I want to love as much as possible and have a caring heart. And I don't want to put limitations on my life. And I'm sure you don't either. I don't want to live with any limitations or, I just want to be able to do what I want to do. And I want to care for others. There's a sort of unlocking that I've had with going into the healthcare industry. I've always had a very caring nature, but I've just it just gives you so much more empathy for life and for people. And I think it's so important to have that. I just want to be able to be a nurturer and a carer in my community and for my family and friends. And Lord knows they've done that for me. When I've gone through some of the hardest times of my life, people have turned up and loved and just been there for me. And it's so important, because how else do we get through hard times? We're tribal. And unfortunately, society is set up for us to be separated. Gosh, I could really get into the world events, but I'm not going to. And this is I put on The Matrix the other day, and I love The Matrix. Who doesn't? The Matrix is just like the best film. But I don't know why. It was blowing my mind for some reason. Actually just I've watched it a million times and I understand it, but this time I was like, oh my gosh, I really feel like I'm listening to something prophetic. It's really interesting how you can read or watch certain things certain times and it just doesn't get to you as profoundly. But oh my God, seriously, watch The Matrix. Free your mind. Literally. The whole thing is, that's all it is. It's about freeing yourself and freeing your mind and believing that you're limitless, essentially. That, freeing yourself from the matrix. It's incredible. I actually would recommend everyone to watch that. I know it's been out for a long time, but I love it. I'm actually wearing my pajamas on my bottom half. I'm in my comfies today. It is raining outside and it's very humid. I don't love it. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to get into. Just elderly and love. Love. I love it. When I recently went up to Cairns, I had... it's interesting, going back to my husband's hometown. It always brings up some uncomfortable emotions inside of me. And I don't like being vulnerable with a lot of people. It makes me uncomfortable. And that's something that I'm trying to just sort of, poo-poo, because it's good to connect with people and to show them how you're feeling and that you're not a robot at times. I don't always want to be stuck like that, but it does make me feel, I get so sad. I really do. It breaks my heart. And I'm so fortunate that I have 2 little nephews that I get to be around. Matthew's sister's nephews, sons, sorry. And they are so beautiful and lovely. But it's just like, it makes me sad that he doesn't get to see them grow up. And it's a weight on me. I'm so sorry. My dog is literally just... Hey, Bobby, you want to go outside? You have to wait a second. Yes, it makes me so, so sad. But these are the sorts of things that you just have to go through in grief. There's no avoiding it. Well, I can try, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to pop up. No matter how much you avoid it, in one way or another, it's going to come up. So I can avoid going to Cairns all I want. All I'm going to do is just, I guess, delay integration of, of how I'm feeling about certain things. I wish there was a button. Sometimes I do wish there was a button that I could just reset. But no, that is not life. That's why it's so important to integrate all of these things into our lives. And I sound like a broken record. I really, really do. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard. I was bawling my eyes out. I went out for lunch with my sister-in-law, and she's got 2 children and lives a busy life and is supposed to have take her out so she can unwind. And I'm like, bless her. She does good by me. They all do, really. Yeah. And that's another nice thing that I get to live with. It's been 11 years, I think 11 or 10 years that I've known them. And yeah, it's my family now. We've been through so much stuff. All of us, our own health issues and whatnot, and big moments in life. And it's nice to know that you can rely on people and they'll always be there for you, even though they're not your family or by blood anyway. It really breaks my heart when people tell me that they don't have a relationship with whomever in life, or, people that they've lost, and they don't have a relationship with that family anymore because it's just hard, or, it's just different. Gosh, really went on one today. Love, love, love. I can't get that song out of my head. The one from Love Actually. We're in the wedding. Love, 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 love. Anyway, me and my sister have just wrote... Actually, I lie. I'm lying to you. My sister just wrote a novel, a children's book. I called her up earlier and I was like, I've got an idea. Why don't we write a children's book? And she literally just wrote a whole book while I was on the phone to her for like a few hours. I was like, I love that. Creative juices flowing. I'm absolutely obsessed with YouTube at the moment. I started to do the meditation videos. So I downloaded my own music and then put something over the top of it. And then I want to do my own guided meditations. And I think that will just be so much fun. But I got to work on my voice. I sound like a husky old man whenever I'm on the podcast. And I actually have no idea why. Because I don't talk like this in real life. I don't. I have no idea. Oh dear. Yes. Well, if there's anything that you can take out of this, it's to love. Love yourself, love others. And don't forget that the reason why we're here is love. Simple as that. That's how I see it anyway. I think maybe innovation and stuff like that is a part of it, but that's not the main reason. That's not the main reason. I just love love. I love being in love. I love loving others. I sound so cheesy. I actually love it though. Oh dear. Well, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I absolutely love talking to you as always. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.